Hi there, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today's practice is all about being intrepid, tapping into inner and outer strength. And while today's physical practice is quite taxing, it's more about building up that sense of inner strength. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify when you need to, rest when you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to start off today's class doing one round of sun salutation B on the right, then run through a standing series on the right before we repeat the whole sequence left, and then we'll bring it down nice and low to the mat. Find a comfortable summer seating with your feet stacking in parallel underneath your hips. Bring your hands to prayer in front of your heart and get ready for sun B. Take a big breath in to prepare, and on the exhale, sit back into an imaginary chair, pushing the weight back into your bum and your heels as you float the arms out in front of you. Then fold forward to place your hands either on the mat or on your legs and hold the fold. Trying to stretch the back chain of your legs, maybe subtly rocking back and forth on the feet. And then take a small step back on the right and set up a little pyramid, holding steady. Try to anchor both feet as best you can, or 10 toes looking to the front of the mat, hands on the mat, or you can give me hands on the waist if you prefer. Then step it back into a deeper lunge line, both hands on the mat. If you feel really tight through the groin, you can give me a little swaying motion forwards and backwards. Then step it back into a full plank. If you need the knees, drop to them. Otherwise, full chaturanga as you bend the elbows, hugging them in towards your ribs, coming to hovering just off the floor. Drape the weight forward over your wrists, coming to rest on your palms and the very tops of your feet as you find an up dog. Then pike into a down dog, bum to sky, tucking the toes under as you go. We're going to take a warrior two-step forward on the right, stepping the right leg forward between the hands, opening up the back leg to 90. You're going to windmill the arms open, tapping the wall in front and the wall behind. And then try to sink down lower through the hips as you begin to pivot on the back foot, coming into a modified warrior one lunge with your pelvis nice and low to the floor and the arms framing the ears on either side. Ease your way back into a plank. Chaturanga down. Find your way into up dog. Bleed into down dog. Take a step or a hop to the front of your mat, trying to ground through the feet, coming back into your chair. Utkatasana, weight into your bum and your heels, and then stand up nice and tall, hands to heart center. From here, we're going to play with that little standing series on the right. You're going to find your way back into warrior two from here. So you're going to take a big lunge step back on the left leg, but you're going to wiggle the arms so that the palms are facing in to center today. Wiggle, walk the legs out so that you're getting that drop down through the pelvis. Reach for the wall in front, reach for the wall behind. Look for that strength inside and out. Then keep the frame of the legs and reverse your warrior by starting to drop your back hand to your back leg and starting to reach for the sky with your top arm. Maybe you're using the bottom hand to maybe wrap around the inseam of the back leg. Come back to your warrior two arm line and start to straighten both legs. We're coming into the wide triangle. Start to reach forward. Maybe dropping to the inseam of your lead leg as you set up a wide open triangle, Uttita Trikonasana, trying to almost forge a T-frame between the two arms. Keep both legs extended, so keep pulling up the energy from your kneecap along the quad on both legs. And then reverse your triangle by coming back up, tapping the back hand to your back leg and reaching to the sky so you look almost like Usain Bolt reaching maybe for the parapet, maybe for the sky. Then begin to bend your lead leg, easing your way back into your original warrior two line with the palms facing in. We're going to use this setup to find our way into goddess Uttaka Konasana. So you're going to change your orientation on the mat slightly, thinking of maybe plie line as you start to open up the feet so that they're looking to the corners of the mat. And then you're going to open up your arms into a cactus or goalpost-like frame, trying to dock down nice and low through the pelvis. Try not to throw your bum back. So think of tilting the pelvis towards the 6 o'clock position so that you've got a nice tilt in the pelvis. Hold your goddess and then begin to play with it. So drop one elbow towards the thigh. You don't need to physically touch it, although you can if you've got the range of motion. Come back to stationary and then do the same on the other side. You're going to think tick-tock fashion, dropping the elbow down, trying to keep that nice low sense of pelvis as you play with your goddess. Then when the legs feel like they're starting to shake and wobble, you're going to straighten up the legs, you're going to straighten up the arms and reach so that your body looks like a star. And you're going to begin reaching as tall as you can through the 5 points of your star. So think reach through the feet, reach through the hands, reach through the crown. Then find your way back into goddess, plie with those little cactus arms. You're going to give me an L drop down as if you wanted to come into a scarecrow. And then use this frame to start playing with a high skandasana. So you're going to think side lunge, extending one leg, bending the other, and reaching with both hands past the knee of your bent leg. Then start to play side to side. Bending one leg, extending the other. Think Tai Chi. Try to keep those elbows up nice and high. You're going to find your way from here back into warrior two, leading at the front end of the mat, but this time palms are looking down. So we're forming a traditional Virabhadrasana to warrior two. Then see if you can use this frame to come into a standing balance in half moon. Maybe start to drop down on your lead side. You can give me a stutter on the back leg if you need to. Trying to peel up into a standing balance, opening up through the hips and giving me slight rotation on that left hip. So it feels like you can comfortably stack the left hip on top of the right and then opening up the arms generously into a T-like frame. Pause here, looking for balance, looking for control, being intrepid, tapping into that fortitude. We're going to ease our way into a chair from here, but we're going to stack the arms one on top of the other, bending at the elbows and just dropping the weight into the bum and the heels so that you can feel the glutes working. You can feel your hamstrings, you can feel your quads. Then peel up nice and tall and prepare for dancer on the right. Bending the right knee, brushing your hand down the chain of the leg, reaching for the foot, starting to make the right knee heavy to the floor. Keep squeezing into center. Maybe you're floating your left arm overhead to frame your left ear. And then think warrior three. You're going to start hinging forward into a tabletop line and you're going to actively kick that back foot into your hand so that the back foot is acting as a counterbalance to the weight that you have traveling forward. Notarayasana, dancer. Then trying to keep that left foot, your grounding foot, nice and strong. You're going to come into a tree line from here. That tree line could be low with your big toe on the mat. It could be just below your knee line, or maybe you're bringing that foot all the way to the inseam of your grounding leg, and you're just going to float your hands to prayer mudra in front of your heart as you settle into tree, Vriksasana, keeping your frame nice and tall. Trying to strengthen your conditioning leg as the leg starts to fatigue, you're going to feel like it feels like you're getting a slight wobble in the foot and the ankle. Just keep your eye trained on a focal point on the wall in front of you and hold still. Then step the legs into a comfortable parallel line. You're still holding those prayer arms in front. We're going to step it back from here into let's take it into a warrior one like stance. So you're going to give me a big step behind you, and you're going to start for me by angling in that back foot slightly at 45. Then start to pivot on the back foot so the heel comes off the floor and you can get more drop down through the pelvis. So coming down lower, almost into just a low standing lunge with your hands in prayer. If you need to, you can drop to the back knee and use the knee for support on the mat. Holding your low lunge, we're going to take a twist towards the lead leg, and you're going to try to hook your left elbow to the outside of your right knee while holding your hands in prayer. So you're going to find that your left elbow is looking up to the sky. See if you can find your way back to center. And then see if you can find your way into chair pose from here, keeping your hands in prayer. So you're going to push up off the back leg. If you need to, drop your hands to the mat to support yourself as you come forward. You're going to launch off the back leg and you're going to take a seat into Utkatasana. Weight into your bum and your heels. Hands are still active in prayer in front of you. Then peel back up and give me a long steeple reach. Fingers reaching for the sky and trying to make a long, almost needle-like frame with your whole body. Bring your hands back in front of your heart and take a recovery breath. Let's run through that whole sequence on side 2, beginning with a round of sun salutation on the B. Take a big breath in. Exhale to sit back into chair Utkatasana. Weight into your bum and your heels as you float the arms out in front. Then fold it forward, hands to floor or hands to your legs as you try to come into Uttanasana, a standing forward fold. Maybe subtly shifting the weight between the balls and the heels of your feet, trying to stretch up the back chain of your legs. Then give me a small pyramid step back on the left, setting up that pyramid between the two legs, or 10 toes looking to the front of the mat. Legs are fully extended and you're drawing up the energy along the quad of both legs. So think long reach from above your kneecap, flaring towards your pubis. Take a big lunge step back and hold, just trying to get more drop down through the pelvis and preparing for a full plank line. When you're ready, step it back into plank. We're going to chaturanga down using knees or no knees. Bend through the elbows, but hug them in towards your ribs, coming to hover just off the floor. Drag the weight forward over your wrists, coming into up dog on the tops of your feet today and pressing into your palms. Exhale as you come into down dog. Try and hold the frame for a bit. Then big lunge step forward on the left leg. Angle the back foot out at 90 and start to windmill your arms open. Tap the wall behind you and the wall in front of you as you settle into warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Then start to pivot on the back leg. Bring the heel up off the floor, drop your center lower to the mat and come into a modified warrior 1, framing your ears on either side with both arms. Hands to mat as you find your way back into plank. Chaturanga down with control, bleeding into an up dog, and then morphing seamlessly into a down dog and pausing in the stretch. Take a little step or a hop to the front of the mat, finding your way into chair, so ground through the feet, drop the weight into your bum and your heels, float the arms out in front, hands to heart center, take a breather. All right, we're going to find that modified warrior 2 on the second side. Take a big lunge step back on the right, start to windmill the arms open and set up your warrior 2. Then take a check, So back leg open at 90. You've got a nice knee over ankle bend on the lead leg. You're not dropping the back arm. So if you need to take a sneak peek back, check that your arms are more or less parallel and keep your gaze steady over your front arm. Keep reaching for the wall behind and the wall in front as you settle into your warrior. Then keep the leg line as you start to reverse your warrior two, Parivirta Virabhadrasana 2. So start to drop the backhand to your thigh, maybe giving me a wrap around on the inner thigh, and just reaching with the other arm for the sky, opening up generously through the left side of your ribs. Then bleed your way back into your modified warrior two and straighten up both legs as we prepare for a wide triangle. Reach forward, start to drop down, maybe pressing with the back of your hand on the inseam of your leg as you set up your wide triangle. Maybe fingertips or even palm to floor, or you could use a block on the inside of the leg to support your frame. Keep both legs straight and keep drawing up energy along your quad. Lead your way back to warrior two. And then when you're ready, you're going to change your orientation on the mat slightly and prepare for goddess. My back is going to be towards you on this one. You're going to start opening up the legs into a wide plie. You're going to think cactus frame through the arms. And when you're ready, you're going to start playing with a little elbow drop, giving yourself a few drops, tic-tac style, on each thigh. Tucking the tailbone under, pulling the belly button in so that you've got a nice little contraction in the core as you play tic-tac style with your goddess. Then when it feels like the legs are starting to ache and wobble, you can find your way back to center. And then think star, starting to straighten up through the arms and the legs. Reaching through your fingertips, reaching along through the tops of your feet, reaching along through your crown. When you're ready, find your way back into goddess. You're going to give me an L drop down, and you're going to think high skandasana or side lunge. So you're going to bend one leg, extend the other, and then you're going to reach with both hands past the knee of your bent leg, and you're going to play side to side. But don't rush it. Think Tai Chi, nice and slow, almost flowing like movements with the body. Then bleed your way back into your warrior two. This time your palms are looking down towards the mat, so you've got a traditional setup. And your gaze is steady over your front forefinger. Let's take it into a little balancing challenge, finding our way into half moon. So you're going to start dropping down on the lead arm. You can give me a stutter on the back leg if you need to push up. Try to open up the arms into a soft T-like frame and rotate on the top hip so that you can stack the top hip on the bottom hip and open up generously through the pelvis as you find Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. Then see if you can find your way from half moon back into your chair line. As you come into the chair, you're going to stack the arms one on top of the other, Cossack style, and you're going to hold here. Weight into your bum and your heels. Then bleed up. See if you can find your way from here into dancer on the left. Bend the left knee, start to brush your hand down the chain of the leg, reaching for the foot. Drop the left knee to the floor and start to squeeze the two knees into center. Float the opposite arm overhead so that it's framing your ear. And when you're ready, you're going to begin hinging forward, actively starting to kick that back foot into your hand so that it's acting as a counterbalance and helping you maintain a steady stance on the mat. Then bleed your way from here into your tree line, either small, just below the knee, or bringing that foot all the way to the inseam of your grounding leg and bringing your hands to heart center in front of your heart. Stay here for a few quiet moments, looking for strength and stillness within the quiet. Keep your eye trained on your drishti or a focal point just in front of you. Feel your stabilizing leg maybe beginning to wobble and speak. Then stand up nice and tall and mountain. Take a breath. When you're ready, we're going to step it back into a warrior one line, leading with the left leg in front. Angle in the back foot at 45. Keep your hands in prayer. As you settle into Virabhadrasana 1, warrior 1, you're twisting slightly through the trunk so that you're looking dead center in front of you. Then let's start to pivot on the back foot, bringing the heel up off the floor, and see if you can get more drop down through the pelvis, coming into a low lunge. Hold. You can relax to the knee if you need it. See if you can start rotating towards your lead thigh, maybe tapping elbow to the outside of the lead knee. Hold. Keep sending energy into that back heel. Then untwist your trunk. Find your way back to center and see if you can bleed your way back into chair. Wait until your bum and your heel. Then give me a tall, steeple-like reach for the ceiling, thinking long, needle-like frame with your body. And even though your fingertips and your arms are reaching for the sky, look for a sense of softening and relaxing through the collar. Bring your hands back down in front of your heart. We're going to find our way from here into a kneeling frame on the mat. Maybe taking a step back on either side, tucking your toes under. You're going to find your way into a camel line. Maybe supporting your lower back, maybe fingertips down or fingertips up, whichever feels the most intuitive for you. You're going to press slightly with your hands on the lower back as if you were trying to subtly bump the hips forward so that they're stacking over your knees. You're going to curve through the spine, try to float the two shoulder blades together and open up generously through the chest as you find your way into your first camel. So for our first camel, we've got the knees in parallel, stacking underneath the hips. The next time we come here, the frame's going to look slightly different. Relax the arms at your side, release the feet, bring the two knees together, the 2 feet together, and sit back into Thunderbolt. Sitting up nice and tall, maybe hands on the tops of your thighs. Or maybe you'd like to try to come into a little bit of a heart opening pose here by reaching your fingertips maybe for the mat behind you, maybe pushing off your fingertips and just opening up your chest generously towards the sky. If reaching for the mat behind you is not an option, maybe think of that camel-like position that we just played with, and place your hands on your lower back and just open up generously through the chest as you try to curve your spine slightly and look up towards the sky. Bleed back up into a nice tall seat. Keep the legs as narrow as you can as you find your way back into camel. So now the knees are together and the feet are together, preferably flat on the floor this time, or you could tuck under if you need to. Come back into your camel line, pressing softly with your palms into the lower back, trying to get more curve through the spine. Pause here for a moment. Keep actively squeezing the energy between the inner thighs together as you hold your camel line, Ustrasana. Then relax the arms at your side and think of the frame of your legs. We're going to try to keep the knees together, and we're going to try to open up the feet into a V as we come into hero, trying to sit the bottom between the 2 feet. And if that's not working, You can maybe open up the knees a little bit wider. You can take a block or a pillow, slip it between the legs and take a little seat into your prop. Depending on your knee mobility, it might be possible for you to actually tap the two knees together along the midline of the body, or it might feel impossible. So just play where you're comfortable, opening up the knees if you need to. Yes, you might feel a slight bit of discomfort in this pose, but you shouldn't feel pain. If you're feeling pain, that's your body telling you it doesn't like this pose. Modify, open up, maybe coming back and just into a high kneel if you prefer. From hero, you can either elect to just stay here nice and tall, hands on the tops of your thighs, or maybe look for an opportunity to come into a heart opening variant again. Maybe just walking the hands behind you and opening up as generously as you can through the chest. Or maybe you're feeling nice and limber through the back and you'd like to bring forearms to floor behind you, opening up generously, or maybe a full recline is more where you're at today and you'd like to come all the way down onto the back, relaxing the arms at your side, either in a Shavasana-like position, or maybe just wrapping your hands around your feet and just chilling here. Play where you're comfortable. Taking a few generous breaths in hero pose. If you were in the full recline position, when you're ready to come out, make your way back onto the forearms, then onto the palms. Walk your way up and then change the leg line, coming into child pose Balasana. Big toes together, knees open nice and wide. And at first, just give me an extended push back into child. So the arms are long and lengthened on the mat in front of you. You're dropping forehead to mat as you settle into child. Big toes are together, knees are open nice and wide. You've got lots of room to breathe. So you've changed the leg line again. Now we've got the V in the opposite direction. Knees are wide and the toes are narrow. And then maybe you'd like to stay here in child, or maybe you'd like to look for an opportunity to come to an inversion again. Maybe wrapping your arms around the body and preparing maybe for hair pose, rocking the weights off your forehead and onto the crown, coming into maybe a half kneel. Maybe this is good. Maybe you'd like to come into a quarter or a full headstand, placing your palms on the mat, fingertips looking towards your head. Make sure that you're halfway between the head and the knees and not in line with your head. You need a little bit of a tripod on the floor. Tuck the toes under, then down dog. And then maybe just start to walk your feet in and see if you can drop the knees to your triceps, just chilling here in a quarter headstand. If you'd like to come all the way up, please feel comfortable to do so. Just find a few moments of stillness. And if coming into the quarter headstand or hair pose is not for you today, maybe just coming into a down dog, looking for that little bit of inversion, that cooling of the blood in the head, and then just holding the stretch for a few quiet moments. Tapping into that inner and outer strength, being intrepid. Whichever inversion you chose, when you're ready to come out, you're going to find your way back into child for a few moments before we change our frame again. Lead your way back to child, maybe just wrapping the arms around the body, forehead connected to the floor. Take a few deep recovery breaths. Give your arms and your shoulders a rest if you were in the quarter headstand or maybe even hair pose. We're going to find our way from here into a deep squat line. So when you're ready, you can bleed up. You can think of starting to come into 4-point kneeling and then just changing the leg setup. Maybe starting to step the legs out wide towards the side of the room, and then getting a little drop down, bottom to floor, or you can take a block and place it underneath your booty if you need to. Maybe just bringing your hands to prayer pose here today, actively pressing into your palms, using your triceps to push the knees apart, and then just holding the stretch. If coming into a low squat is not for you, maybe just find a comfortable seat on the mat, maybe in Sukhasana, easy sit. That's going to be our next stop, so you'll be in the right spot already. Look for a few quiet moments here in the deep squat. And remember that your feet can be as wide or as narrow as you need to try to ground the whole foot. If you need to, you can give me heel off the mat. Alrighty. Let's ease our way from here into Sukhasana, and you can lead with whichever leg in front you're comfortable with. I'm going to start right leg in front of left, crossing loosely at the ankles, and then just looking for a sense of strength and length through the spine here. So not taking it into a fold today, but just trying to find the seat, taking a check to see that all the weight is equally dispersed between the right and the left bum bone, and that you're not leaning aggressively to one side. Sitting up nice and tall, maybe taking a moment to just close your eyes and take the focus inward. Start to make the knees heavy to the floor. Start to look for a softening and an opening and a relax within the pelvis. Stay here in this frame or find your way into half lotus, Ardha Padmasana. Reach for the front foot. Try to tuck the heel of the front foot as close to the opposite hip bone as you can, resting the top of your foot on the opposite thigh. And then just pause here. Once again, doing a check, trying to give me a subtle shift on the mat, and maybe even actively pressing with your right hand, pressing softly down on the inside of the right knee to get that knee to relax to the floor. You're looking for that weight distribution again. So check, are you leaning heavier into one bum bone? If you are, try to even out the body weight on the left and the right side of your spine, and just pause here for a few quiet moments. Looking to equalize on both sides. Ardha Padmasana, half lotus. Nice tall spine, a nice tall trunk, beautiful long neck and spinal line. When you're ready to come out of your half lotus line, you're going to find your way into a seated straddle, Upavista Konasana, opening up the legs into a V-like frame, and that V can be as wide or as narrow as you're comfortable with. Open up the legs and just try to open them up and hold the straddle. Active feet, we're not folding forward, we're just trying to open up the legs as wide as we can. Give me an active brace into your feet. So you're thinking balls of your feet stacking over the heels of your feet with an active press into the whole foot. Maintaining that high seat and checking once more that your weight is evenly distributed on the left and the right side of the body. Ease your way from here back into Sukhasana, easy sit. This time you're going to lead with the opposite leg in front. So this time I'm going to have left leg in front of right. Looking for that tall seat on the mat. Running those checks to make sure that my bum bones are equally weighted. Getting a sense of even shoulders, even hips. That's your control. Maybe softly just cupping around the knees as you maintain a sense of tall spine, tall trunk. Staying here or bringing it into a half lotus seat. Taking that left foot, tucking the heel as close to the inside of the right hip bone as you can, resting the foot on the top of the opposite thigh, and then looking for that weight distribution again. Maybe subtly using your left hand to just softly push the left knee away. Especially if you are pretty tight through the hips, maybe you do a lot of sitting during the day and you find that the hips are really tight. Just subtly coax them open, but no heavy-handedness, just gentle, gentle. Then when you're ready, open back up into your wide-seated straddle and give me active feet while maintaining that sense of both of your bum bones being equally grounded into the mat. And watch that you're not collapsing your frame and sitting behind on your tailbone. So tilt forward, almost think 6 o'clock tilt through the pelvis. Give me active feet, active inner thighs, belly button pulled into center, nice tall trunk. Hold your tall frame. Sometimes just sitting up straight with a nice long spine is enough work in and of its own. And then we'll end off today's practice in a seat of your choice with a little bit of breath work. We'll bring it to, let's play with the sit kari, hissing breath. So maybe staying in your straddle line, maybe you want to come into Sukhasana, or maybe you want to come back into your half lotus. And then let's work with active gyun today. So bringing the index finger and the thumb together, making a little O shape with your hand, and then just opening up the other 3 fingers and having the palms looking up to the sky. Find your mudra and then begin to focus on your breath work. You're going to inhale through the mouth and exhale through the nose for today's exercise. For the inhale, gnash your teeth together, keep the lips soft so that you can suck up air through the gaps between the teeth and the gaps between the 2 lips, making a slight hissing sound. Almost the sound that you make when you maybe burn your finger on the stove. Suck in the air through the mouth, then close the mouth and exhale through the nose. You're going to give yourself at least 10 to 20 rounds of your hissing breath, closing the eyes, taking your focus inward, and starting to attune yourself to your breath. Finding a steady rhythm of your own. Keep that breath pattern going. Not being afraid to make noise on the inhale, but being so quiet on the exhale. Focus on the sensation, how the breath feels. As you slurp in that air, you're going to feel the nice cool air rushing into your mouth, down the tongue, down the channel of your throat, bleeding into the lungs. As you exhale, you're going to feel the hot, stale air tickling your nasal passages as it exits the body. Start to feel a beautiful sense of serenity and calm engulf your body. Be one with it. Give yourself at least 1 more round of this hissing breath, sit kari. Then end off today's practice with a few recovery breaths, inhaling and exhaling through both nostrils equally as you bring your hands to prayer mudra in front of your heart, gently pressing into your palms, maybe keeping your elbows slightly wide and ending by nodding maybe nose to fingertips on the words Namaste. Thank you so much for coming out and joining me today. Hope you enjoyed our intrepid journey. Till next time, keep it light.